There's a saying which goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a phrase that comes to mind when you realize that there's an array of vehicles still being made today that in automotive standards are old as hell. With technology being so advanced, a great number of car models hit the market every year, and you're probably wondering how any of these cars on this list can still be on the market these days. Well, surprisingly, they are. It sounds impossible since auto manufacturers are in a fierce competition of grabbing the attention of customers with brand new models each year. Well, you'll be surprised that some of the oldest cars on Earth are still being manufactured, with these models being the icons of the automotive industry, each in their own ways. Today we take a look at cars that have stood against time. So here are 9 ancient cars that are still being produced today. The Lotus 7. The continuation of the Lotus 7 is a testament to designer Colin Chapman's vision and his allegiance to engineering lightness. The bare automobile consists of an engine, wheels, and not much else. Originally designed in 1957 by Chapman himself, the Lotus 7 was engineered to be a car that was not only street legal, but also can be raced on the weekends. When Lotus ended the production of the 7 some 16 years later, the automaker Caterham Cars purchased the rights and design, and continued to manufacture it as a kit or a completely assembled car. To this day, you can order a Series 7 and it's nearly identical to the one produced 62 years ago. The Morgan 4x4. Glaciers move faster than Morgan Motor Company. In fact, while the rest of the automotive industry has progressed from steel to aluminum to carbon fiber chassis, Morgan still produces automobiles with hand-shaped wooden frames. And so the company's small platoon of vehicles has been produced in various evolutions since its founding in 1910. The oldest of the designs, however, is the Morgan 4x4. The 4x4 has been produced since 1936. Although the Morgan has seen some updates, its basic design, engineering, and manufacturing haven't changed since Henry Frederick Stanley Morgan penned the design all those years ago, making it the oldest car to see current production. The Mercedes-Benz G-Class. The G-Wagon was originally developed as a military vehicle for the German army, but was eventually offered to civilians. It was a luxurious four-wheel drive SUV that only the rich and the Pope could afford, and one of the few vehicles to have 3 fully locking differentials, and closing its doors might sound remarkably similar to shutting a safe. The latest version is a 2018 G63 AMG, featuring a twin-turbo V8 engine. It still sees action today in armed forces around the world, while at the same time becoming somewhat of a celebrity go-to car. Experts predict an 85% chance of it still being in production in 2020. The Land Rover Defender. It's hard to imagine a world without a Jeep Wrangler, or one of the ultra-tough versions of the Toyota Land Cruiser that are still sold in some of the more rugged parts of the globe. But we've had a world without the Defender for a few years now, ever since Land Rover allowed its brand-defining Origin model to retire in 2015 without a replacement, an error that is only now being corrected with the arrival of a new 2020 model. Originally, this model was simply called the Land Rover, with the Defender part of the name being added at a later date. The Land Rover Defender is a common sight in rural areas in the UK, and is one of the oldest vehicles on the list. The Defender was produced from 1948 before ceasing production in 2015 due to safety laws regarding European pedestrians. The good news is that the Defender will be coming to America from launch, and that it will be a far more advanced offering than its charmingly crude predecessor. The SAAB 9-3. The quirky Swedes are always good at producing obscure cars that architects loved, had an inclination for inflating its history, and how its cars were always born from jets, as well as making General Motors accountants weep every time they built a new car. As such, many were heartbroken when the company went bust in 2012. 2 years later, however, SAAB's 9-3 was resurrected by the National Electric Vehicle Sweden AB company as an all-electric vehicle. Though its revival got off to a rocky start, the 9-3 no longer met the European NCAP safety standards. But with the help of the Chinese, the SAAB 9-3 made its return and is currently on sale in China. The LADA 4x4. Previously known as the LADA Niva, the LADA 4x4 was first designed and produced by Soviet Russia in 1977. Since 2009, it's been known as the LADA 4x4. The SUV was the first mass-production off-road vehicle to feature a unibody structure and an independent front suspension. It was the predecessor to current crossover SUVs, which nearly all followed the LADA 4x4's format, and was coined by some as the greatest Soviet car of all time. Versions of the car were used throughout Russia and Europe as utility, service, police, and military vehicles. It was known for its superior off-road capability designed for tough tundra territory, making it easy to drive in sub-zero temperatures. In 1998, it was sold in the US as the Chevy Niva, following a joint venture with the Russian automaker with General Motors. This version had an updated body and a 1.7-liter engine with fuel injection. Though its body and interior were new, it was still based on the old engine, transmission, and overall mechanics. The LADA Niva is sold internationally till this very day. The Mazda MX-5. Since 1989, this roadster, also known as a Miata in the US, wasn't originally branded as a Mazda, but instead as a UNOS roadster. Catchy, right? Ha, not really. Mazda decided to try out this new name when they were testing out the brand, much like Toyota did with Lexus. Version 1 of the two-door convertible was produced for 10 years. It can still be yours to own for around $18,000. Version 2 was introduced in 1998. It was produced until 2005. Then there was version 3, the latest generation model, which launched in 2005 and can still be yours today for around $24,000. The Volkswagen Passat. The Passat, produced by German automaker Volkswagen since 1973, has been through a total of 8 design generations. The recent models have made the Passat unrecognizable from the original, except for the engineering platform that's been shared throughout the years. The Passat has always been a large family car, but through the years it's turned into a mid-size sedan. Over its lifetime, it's been badged internationally with a number of names. Currently, the 2011 design generation of the coupe, the Passat NMS, standing for New Mid-Size Sedan, is being sold in North America, China, and South Korea. The Passat won the Motor Trend Car of the Year award in 2012, and in 2013, the Passat TDI achieved an astonishing fuel consumption of 78 miles per gallon, creating a Guinness Book World Record for a non-hybrid car. The American version of the 2013 model is also being sold in the Middle East. The Land Cruiser 70. Though Toyotas are known for being frugal and basic economy cars in the United States, the rest of the world knows that Toyota builds some of the most rugged off-road capable machines, bar none. Pickup trucks like the Toyota Helix and SUVs like the Land Cruiser are used by militaries, game wardens, expedition leaders, and guerrilla groups that carry people, gear, and weaponry. Watch any news broadcast covering the conflicts in the Middle East and there's a Toyota somewhere in the shot. While Toyota has made some improvements to these machines and new models exist, some groups want the simplicity of the old, which is why the Land Cruiser 70 series is still in production. The 70 series began its life after replacing the outgoing 40 series, which itself was produced for 25 years. Currently, the 35-year-old SUV is sold in Australia, South America, Africa, the Middle East, and was even offered in Japan, until more demanding traction control laws took effect in 2014. Well guys, those are ancient cars that are still produced today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you like what you see at the channel, subscribe and put post notifications on. You could also follow the channel on Instagram at Modern Muscle YT. I'm Jeff from Modern Muscle, and I'll see ya next time.